Hi there, my sixth grade families. It's Mrs. Hill here. I wanted to introduce myself and share with you what we're going to be learning about in sixth grade social studies this year. Earlier in the year, I sent home the syllabus that briefly talked about what things we're going to be learning about. So I'm just going to read from it real quick, a description of what sixth grade social studies looks like. So in sixth grade, we learn about the Eastern Hemisphere, Africa, Asia, Europe. Each region discussed will be analyzed by taking into consideration its geographic features, early history, cultural development, and economic change. We will learn about the development of river civilizations in Africa and Asia, including their governments, cultures, and economic systems. The geographic focus includes the study of contemporary regional characteristics, the movement of people, products, and ideas, and cultural diversity. So, long of the short, we're going to be looking at different people from the past, ancient history. We'll be talking about early humans. We'll be talking about ancient Egypt in the Middle East. We'll be talking about ancient India, ancient China, and just hopefully maybe we'll get to briefly talk about ancient Greece. Now, there's one thing that I absolutely love about teaching this specific year here at Christ the King is that this is a lot of the same time, like a good chunk of the time that we're learning about in social studies this year is happening at the same time as the Bible. So whenever I get a chance to, I like to make references back to biblical events and biblical stories just to help our students make some relationships between the two. I think if it makes both things relevant and interesting to know that yes, this is really important. You know, this truly did happen. This is the history. This is it's just another great way to help remember stuff. So, anyways, I love it. So we'll be doing that, and I'll be making them. Hopefully, they'll be singing some annoying Sunday school songs when they come home, because that's what I like to do. Be silly and fun, but that's how you remember stuff. So these are the things that we're going to be learning about, the topics. Every chapter, I will be assigning pretty much the same basic thing. So at the very beginning of a chapter, we will talk about the vocabulary. We'll read the introduction and possibly do the preview activity. The vocabulary, I will assign the first day that we start a chapter, and then that will be due the next day. And then from there on, I will be assigning work, but it will be done in the question packets. That's what I call these worksheets. So if you have an in-class learner, they're going to be receiving a packet. And I do this because I think that there's a lot of value in writing down information to help you lock it into your brain. My remote learners, if you've opted out of this, you will be doing it on the TCI program, and I will be pointing out where that is. But if you're an in-class learner, you are doing it in the paper copy. And if you lose your paper copy, that's fine, but it will be on you to copy the questions down from the TCI, which I'll touch on that later. Or in Google Classroom, also, I will have a PDF of these, so you can copy them off on your own time. So the section questions will be assigned every day when we read a different section. So if we read section 2 that day, then you're going to be responsible for having section 2 questions done. Reading section 3, maybe we do section 3 and section 4 that day. You'll be responsible for answering both of those questions. Luckily, though, the sections, they're only 2, 3, maybe sometimes you'll get a 4th question, but they're really not that long. So that section 1 just has you list 5 things right there. So they're not long questions, but they're just good ways to help summarize what was learned in each section. These will be due the day before the test on review day. We'll go over the answers, and I will have the students pull out a different colored writing utensil to help evolve their answers. I'm not telling them to write them, like correct them, like if they're wrong or not. What I want them to do is to make sure they have the right answer. That's why I call it evolve them. Or if maybe they left out a detail that would be beneficial to add to it, I encourage them. And I do look for that when I then collect them and I give them their grade. I do look to see if they're evolving their answers, because even the most perfect answer can always have some zhuzhing to help make it a little bit more. So these are due to be able to go over on review days. And then the day of the test, I will collect these. So my thinking for that is review day, go over them, make sure you have the right answers, take them home that night to study them. And then turn this into me the day of the test. The day my test, I have a policy with my students. I have a calendar that's hanging up on my cart, so they see it every single day when I go to their classroom. And as soon as I know when I'm going to post the test, I put it on a little sticky note on my calendar. So they usually have like a week at least heads up of when their test will be. And I've made a promise to them that I won't move a test forward. I may only push a test back. So when I'm estimating my test dates, I'm really conservative. So I'm like, if anything, I'll have to push it back and I won't be able to have it sooner. And I just do that because I know we all have really busy lives, and just planning ahead is so important. And if I can make that one little thing a little bit easier for your students, then that's awesome. So they will have their vocab questions, they will have the section questions, and then they will obviously have a test. And the test is worth 50 points. So I try to use the vocab and the test questions and an activity assignment to help balance out the 50 points. So if your student is not the best test taker, or if they just do poorly on a test, then hopefully they were able to get all their points in on the other stuff. So that fourth thing that I will be checking also for every chapter, I'll be trying my best to assign some kind of activity or project. It'll be a little trickier this year because I can't do group projects that I'd like to, so I'm trying to figure out how to adapt them. So for an example, for chapter 4 coming up, I'm going to have your students design a city-state, and they'll have to do a little mini project on that. So that's another way that your students can demonstrate their knowledge of the topic beyond just the test. Also, students will be taking notes in the beginning of the year. I'm trying to do these little guided notes with little questions, so they're not having to worry about like writing down every single thing on the slide. I'm trying to teach them to write down the essence of the slide. And then as the year goes on, it'll be more like a graphic organizer that I'll provide them for note taking, or I might give them, or I might just have them just copy notes, because I think note taking is also an important thing to do. We're doing Edpuzzle right now, and the Edpuzzle is essentially the same notes that I went over in class that day, and then they'll be assigned to do them that night. And that's just so your student has another opportunity to hear the content again and to see it, and then they can go back and revisit it. I have my notes also posted in Google Classroom, which I'll show you here in a bit. So I'm going to shrink myself a little bit so I'm not hogging the whole screen, and I want to take a moment and share with you what our social studies text looks like. So here's our textbook. So you log in, and this is what it will look like. So this right here is pretty much like the table of contents. So these are all the different chapters that would be in our social studies book. So some of these might look familiar. This was this early rise of human civilization. That was the geography skill thing that we did early in the year. Then we just finished up chapter 1, investigating the past. And now we're going to be, we are currently talking about hunters and gatherers. So you can click on that link for that chapter, and it will open up the chapter for you. From here, also, if you're like, oh, I clicked on the wrong chapter, you can just click on that and it will, give you a list of all the other chapters this way. I guess they're calling them lessons, not chapters. So within each chapter, you can see all the different sections and you can click on them to skip ahead, or you can use these navigation buttons here. This gives us the essential question that we talk about at the beginning of every chapter. And also students can click on the pictures. And when you click on the pictures, you can get a little bit more information here with the captions, which can be helpful. For vocabulary, students will have vocabulary every chapter. This is a list of their vocab words, as well as being listed in the packet. Where did I put the packet? So right here underneath the preview activity in the packet, this is also where their vocab words are listed. So you can either click here on this list of words, or you can click over here in the purple column. It says vocabulary cards. So you can just click on them and it'll take you to this little vocab stuff. So it gives them the word and then they can flip the card and they can get the definition. So they can test themselves here. And then it'll take you to the next vocab word, flip it over. Sometimes it throws in additional words. So that's why I like to point out that these are the vocab words. Sometimes they'll throw in like another challenging word, but it's not necessarily a vocab word. So that is an option of another place where your student can get information in the TCI text. Trying to go back. So you can go back to your text. All right, so in the text, this is like if you were reading in the textbook, this is what you would read. And then this is the preview section, which is the same as, different chapter, which would be the same thing. Here, let me find the chapter. So I want to be in a different chapter, Rise of the City-State, because I have this example in front of me. So the Rise of Sumerian City-State, you can see here are the vocab words here on the screen, and they're the same vocab words here in the packet. You scroll down, you can see this is the preview activity, and it's the same preview activity here. So again, that's what I was meaning. If your student misplaces their packet, if you can't print it out, they can copy the questions down and answer them on a separate sheet of paper. So if you were to go to the next section, section 1, you can scroll down at the end of the text and you will see it has the same questions here as it does in the packet. So they're at the bottom of the text. In every section, you'll have the text to read. You'll usually have a map or some other kind of image here on the right side. And then TCI makes these really fun learning games for students to do some self-check on. They're optional. I don't grade them or check them, but students often like to use them to check their knowledge. And then again, you can scroll down and see what the questions are. This year, especially with social distancing and everything, I'm having students take their test online. So they'll be taking them on the TCI account. It's not necessarily connected with Google Classroom, but they'll be logging into TCI, and you're going to click over here on assignments. And then you will be able to click on this, and then it will drop down and you will have the new test come down, and you'll click on that link there. I'm not going to click on this because I'm borrowing a student account. And if you click down though, and it's already been graded, you'll be able to click on that link and you will be able to see your score, and you'll be able to go back into the test and to see the questions that you may have struggled with, and if I left you any comments. So that is the TCI account. Now I want to flip to the Google Classroom. So as you can see here that normally right here, I thought I had it, there will be a Google link, a Google Meet link, and I will be fixing that after I finish this video. But if you ever need a conference with me or anything, you will be able to click on the link that will soon to be found here. Or if your student needs to do a video chat and that's able to be an option, we can do that. And on this page, the streaming page, this is where if I post important information, it will be here. If there is any announcements, you can see here, I posted an extra credit option. It's due the 23rd. I don't do this very often, but it fit in with what we were learning. And then it'll also tell you when I post new assignments. You can then click on the classwork tab, and will show you all the different things that we're learning. So this is what we've already done. I try to rotate them down as we do it so the most current thing is on top. So currently we're working on Chapter 3, From Hunters and Gatherers to Farmers, in farming. So these are all the things that I've assigned so far, and it tells your due dates. You can see here how the icon is orange, and that means that it hasn't been turned in yet. So I'm using a fake student account, so I'll show you how you can do this. The vocabulary is a good example of to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on it, you're going to click on View Assignment, and this just means that it's past the posted due date that I made. So here are the directions, and my remote students, I'll usually put a different, separate directions here for you like that, or my in-class students. So you can see here that this is the template that I made for you. And so you will type in your definition and your sentence, and Google has generated your own unique template. And so it's all organized for me, and you don't have to worry about putting your name on it, and it's all in one nice spot for your teacher to grade. So you'll go in here. If you happen to miss points, you can go back and see if I've left any comments for you in your document. When you are done, you'll click this Turn In button. If there's other work that you would like to see or have me add, added to your thing, you can click the Add or Create button. And you can link a document that you may have on your computer, or you can if you want to post a picture, you can just put it in a Google Doc, open that, and then insert your picture into that doc, and it'll automatically attach it with that. So when I go to grade your assignment, if you have an extra thing that you want to turn in, it'll be right there with it, and I'll know that they go together. So that is vocab. So let's pretend like I did it and turned it in. So yes, turn it in. So then I will go back to my classwork, and then you can see now that this icon is now gray, because that means that I have turned it in and I no longer have to worry about doing that. So parents, that's a great way to check if your parent or if your student has turned something in, because the icon should be changed. But you can also see that you cannot actually do the assignment and still turn it in. So, but students, they'll be good. No one would do that. Also, what I like to include in all the chapters in Google Classroom is a tab for class materials. And that icon looks like this little paper with a flag on it versus the clipboard icon, which shows an assignment. So in the materials, I like to supply my notes. I try to break them down by section. I have the study guide. And then this is where you would find the PDF as well. If you needed an extra copy, it would be in here. So, and then again, you can organize the work. It's organized by chapters, and then you can scroll down. It's like if you want to see a past chapter, you can just click on chapter 1, and it'll only highlight the stuff that we did in chapter 1. So that's 6th grade social studies in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please email me. And then once I get all the questions in from parents, if I have any, I will answer them all. And I will send out those questions and answers into one email so we can all know what's going on and all be on the same page. Thanks for listening to this video, and I look forward to getting to know your student more throughout the year. Thanks. Have a good one.